Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Star Line by People Magazine senior crime editor Alicia Dennis, talking to us about Season 2 of People Magazine Investigates Cults on Investigation Discovery, Mondays 9, 8 Central. Let's go Beyond the Mic.
Hi, Sean.
It's a 6-part series, and you deal with the scariest of organizations out there.
Yeah, we definitely do. And I think what's interesting about it is we have different people who used to be inside these groups, survivors, who are willing to share their stories with us, and it makes for incredibly compelling watching.
The scary thing about this is you cover just 6 cults. There are probably hundreds more out there that you could have talked about. Your crew must have been discussing in the pre-taping meetings, we got to talk about them. What about these guys? How did you make the cut on just these 6?
That's such a good question. It's really hard to make the cut because there's so many more. And as we go through our investigative process, we find chillingly that there's many, many others for us to go into and uncover. So maybe we'll have another season, but the ones that we're investigating this season are ones that some of them you've heard of, some of them you haven't, but I think all of them you're going to learn something from. And there's almost always a criminal element, too, that we're uncovering in these episodes.
It's senior crime editor Alicia Dennis from People Magazine. When doing the research for the series, it's hard not to get personally involved, especially for the people who've been caught up in these dramatic situations. How hard was it for your team and yourself to separate you from the story?
That's such a good question. I think it's always difficult, with the journalists that work on the team to be able to tell these incredibly difficult and sometimes graphic and horrific stories through the eyes of these people that have experienced them and without feeling completely impacted personally by that. But I think that what happens is it's part of the job and everyone knows that they're trying to share these stories as best we can and be the conduit for which, people can explain to the world what they went through and let them do that and then have our feelings afterwards. And sometimes there is a period of time that journalists need to, spend some time and disconnect from it a little bit because it can be really difficult.
What are some of the manipulation techniques that these cult leaders use to whip their followers into blind loyalty?
Well, across the board, no matter how different these groups are, there's that one common thread where these leaders are charismatic, they are powerful, and they have a lot of ability to influence people. And so a lot of times you've got people who are just looking for something good, or they're asking questions, they're looking for some kind of purpose or peace, and a lot of times these leaders are offering all these good things at the onset and at the beginning, and then little by little freedoms are taken away until it gets to the point where people don't know what they've gotten themselves into, and by then they've lost control.
Time is running out, so it's time for the Rockin' 8. First thing that comes to your mind, no pressure. Favorite thing to do with your family?
Go to the beach.
Favorite episode of the series?
Oh, I can't pick a favorite. They're all so good.
You got to pick one.
Children of God.
Last family member you called on the phone?
My husband.
Who's your biggest mentor?
My biggest mentor? Oh, boy, I've got so many of them. Cynthia Sands.
Favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Read.
Favorite place to travel?
Somewhere warm and tropical or New Orleans.
Things that scare you the most?
Snakes. And
what's the one story you wanted to tell but haven't told yet?
Oh, no, there's so many of them. Next season cults.
She is the senior crime editor for People Magazine and the team that gave us People Magazine Investigates Cults on Investigation Discovery. Alicia Dennis. Check that out Mondays, 9, 8 Central on ID.
Thank you.
And that, my friends, is Beyond the Mic.